Jordan, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Yes, sir. Good to have you on here. I think a person like you, in my eyes, is definitely seen a lot differently than maybe people that see you right now as a middle linebacker at Texas A&M. I remember you, Jordan, as a kid who was playing receiver. Not as big, not as strong as you are right now. Explain a little bit about the early years of playing football and what got you to start playing football.
Um, I'll say for sure my older brothers, keeping it simple, always being the youngest, being in the back seat and everything, going into practices, watching them play. And then it was a matter of time where I was like, okay, because, most younger brothers, they look up to the older brothers. So just watching my two older brothers, it was like more something like I want to show them, like, what I can do too. So I think that was like the biggest drive, what got me into football. And to this day, like, we always have like a strong competitive, mentality. We're always competing against each other, just showing like, so that was for sure my brothers. They got me into football.
Oh yeah, for sure. I didn't have older brothers, but I could bet that having older brothers definitely the lessons and the obstacles that they went through, they made sure that you didn't make those same mistakes, or you know what I mean. They put you up on game
Right.
that maybe they didn't have as older siblings. But yeah, transitioning into your high school career, going into freshman year, um, what was your mindset like going on campus with, you know, at a program like St. John Bosco, where a lot of greats came out of, a lot of high level athletes? What was kind of your mindset going in to St. John Bosco as a freshman?
Well, I would say the biggest thing, um, of course, human nature. We're all going to think like, okay, I'm trying to, be the guy like right now, like it has to happen right now, and everything like that. Which is there's nothing wrong thinking like that because I feel like everybody in the sport has to feel like they're the best. If they're not, then they're kind of in the wrong business. So that was like my mindset going into Bosco, but. I would say my first year was more like a figure it out year because it's high school still at the end of the day, and I played wide receiver slash DN slash outside backer my whole freshman season and everything from the time I was a freshman. I'll say, how do I explain this? Just it was more like a learning year and everything. As much as I wanted to get onto the top of the mountain, you know, as quick as possible, but it was for sure a process. The best way I could put it for most cats coming up, you kind of got to go through it to experience it and everything, and listen to the details that would do all the necessary thing it takes to get there to put yourself in the best position to accelerate because it's not going to stop in high school, because you still got the college level, and of course, but you know,
No,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, you hit on a lot right there, bro. And that's one thing. I feel like that's one thing at a young age in high school that you were able to develop and contributes to where the success that you're at right now is. You understood, like, hey, I gotta put in the work. It's not gonna come early. I'm not gonna be a freshman just shining on varsity right away. Being the
Yeah,
man.
it's a process. It's a process for sure, especially at a school like Bosco.
Yeah,
It's a great
exactly.
school. It's a great school for sure. College prep programs with a lot of parents. I advise a lot of parents who anybody who's watching this. I advise everybody. If you do have an opportunity to go to a school like Bosco, the Modern Days, the Servites, Centennials, just any type of school in the West Coast, Southern California, take the opportunity for sure because it's going to set you up for college and everything.
Yeah, for sure. And it breeds that dog into you where I'm gonna have to compete for every single rep, every single game that I'm able to play in. You know what I mean? So kind of looking back at your freshman, sophomore years, were there any players on Bosco kind of like that you looked at as like a mentor for you, young in your career, that attributed to like the success that you're at right now?
You're one of them. Yeah, but
I'm honored.
I'll say DJ. You know, our guy DJ Oyunlele. Uh, he's from a character standpoint, not really from. Of course, everybody's going to see him playing football and stuff like that. But I'll say I study him from a character standpoint, seeing the way he's a leader because he's a quarterback. As linebackers, we're quarterback at the defense, but I just like the way he goes about his business. He's really humble, and when you see him, it's nothing but all love. And as well, a lot of people they don't see just see the way he treats people and he reminds me a lot of like leaders like guys like Troy Polamalu and stuff. So I'll say like DJ was for sure a big like a big guy I looked up to. Me going into Bosco, it's like okay, got to come in with some leadership for sure, especially when you're trying to be that guy, at that level. Because schools like Bosco, most kids they go to their nearest public school, and their first mind, they're already the guy before they got there, just because it's a small area, and so it's just normal. It's just that's just how it is. But you go to schools like Bosco, everybody everybody was that guy, just at their Pop Warner team. So everybody being at Bosco is just it's not like hey I'm the guy, and then like everybody else you're surrounded by all dogs. So there's a difference between being a player at Bosco and being that dude at Bosco. So that's something that I took into consideration every day in my head, just like A&M. There's a difference between being a linebacker in the SEC and being that guy in the SEC. So it's just the same mindset, just a bigger stage. But yeah, but going back to your question, DJ for sure, because leader.
Nah, yeah, bro. I mean, just having DJ on the team as someone that was younger than me, I could definitely say he was definitely a dude that I even looked up to as far as a maturity standpoint. So I agree with you on that. But yeah, just look going on from someone that was a mentor to you to your, I would say, peak moments in high school. Was there like a breakout moment you can remember in your high school career where you kind of broke into that, like, yeah, I'm the top dog at this school or on my defense, or any type of moment, or just anything that you can remember in your career at St. John Bosco?
Um, I would say my sophomore year for sure. It was of course, of all games, it's the biggest game of the year, the Modern Day versus Bosco game. And I actually a lot of people don't know because people only see outcomes. They don't see the work you put in to try to get that. They don't care if you broke your leg to even get on the field. They only going to see what you're doing on the field. Like what I'm saying. It's just how it is. People they don't know a lot of behind the scenes that what it took, but going into that breakout moment where I knew it was like, okay, like this is gonna be something special for sure was the Modern Day game. You had like 5 stars like Relique Brown and everything like that. So, I was watching him play when I first came in as a freshman. So, when I came in and he's going into his senior year and stuff, all they're talking about is just like, oh, 5 star this, 5 star that. I wasn't really thinking too much of it because I wasn't even starting it like the whole season. Modern Day was like the 6 game season. I started my fourth game after Oscar Smith. So my fourth game, then going into the fifth game going into the sixth game, which is like, the Trinity League time. It was just like I didn't started, for some reason, I didn't know, but I didn't started the Modern Day game. And then, the guys ahead of me, unfortunately, they weren't like doing what they were supposed to do. So shout out to Coach Rob for putting me in. He was like, I'm on the sideline, like
Coach
drinking
Rob,
water.
Coach Rob,
And
sure.
then what's it called? It's this Modern Day game, Modern Day versus Bosco. And Coach Rob turned around. He was like, Jordan. He's like, get it, get it, get it, get it. Yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh. And I wasn't thinking about nothing else but really just killing the dude in front of me. But it all came down to this thing, just do your job and play with a lot of violence. So the tackle step up to me, and you guys could probably put the clip over here too so people can see. But the tackle step up to me, I just hit him with a jab, and then Relique came on the outside, and you're deep, you're outside backer, so you got to set the edge. And then I just had a TFL. Then that TFL led to like another one because momentum is everything. So once you got your momentum, your confidence is really over now because that's where I knew I was like I wouldn't say I was surprised. I was just like, oh shoot, like oh it's over now. Like y'all
Yeah,
really are taking me off the field because that was one rep and that was my first rep in. It was a TFL, and then after that, then I just started for the rest of my high school career. After that, and I never let up. So that was a for sure biggest breakout moment. Was like, oh my gosh, like I just tackled Relique Brown, like just the
yeah,
guy. Shout out to Relique, man, because that's like this the guy like they was hyping up like on Max Press, but when I tackled him, I was like, you're just you know saying rocket science,
yeah.
wrap up and
Do
you
your
got
job, and it's gonna
you
it's
got to
gonna
start
happen.
driving,
Yeah,
bro. I was like, I mean, he's just another part. He's just another dude. I mean, of course, everyone's human, just not me. No, but
With
that's what I
that,
said.
with that.
It goes back to the mindset. Like there's got to be your confidence. Like you got to feel like even though you know for a fact guys are we're going to go into detail with this. Even though you know like this guy, he's more experienced, he's more athletic than me. He has like years under his belt. You have to trick your brain and say, I am the best, and I'm going to be the best, and I'm going to work towards to be the best. I know I'm not at where I need to be as of right now, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna continue to stay humble, stay obedient to process. But I gotta keep saying in my head, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. And there is nothing wrong saying that. So when you do go into moments of preparation, all the stuff you did outside of the field, so when you get that Coach Rob moment where Rob's like, "Hey, get in, you're in." Like that's literally how they're talking in the game. And so when that moment presents itself, I was saying my brother Bilo, he always told me like, there's no competition, there's only preparation. So preparing for that specific moment was a moment I will never forget. It still carries to this day to my college career because it just shows like, if you lacking on your assignment, there's hungry cats to this day who are coming to take your spot. So and you got to pass in moment like, hey, your
Yeah,
number's called, you're in, make something happen. Like you prepare for that time because after that play, I never got taken off the field ever.
exactly.
So it's just like, but I carry the same mindset, just continue to remain diligent and everything. So when my opportunity do presents itself again, just in the bigger stage like Texas A&M, I know like I'm all confident in my head, my training camp and preparation, to prepare for opportunities.
All right. Prepare for moments like the one that you had in the modern day Bosco game. And
Yeah,
going
tackling
back,
Willie
yeah,
Brown, he's a dude, none but respect
exactly.
to him.
Those
When I
aren't
tackle
no,
him, it was
yeah,
just like,
those are
oh
high
shoot,
recruits.
like it's over, bro.
Yeah.
My
But
eyes. What I mean?
but
But it was great though, great. Guys like really Brown for sure make cats like me better and so it was iron sharpest iron for sure. But for sure,
no,
blessed
yeah,
with those
bro.
big moments.
Yeah. And the dude like Raleek Brown, had a heavy recruiting process, high 5-star like you talked about. Dudes that you're going against like Brandon Baker.
Yeah, because I didn't even have stars at the time. Like I didn't. Like this is like life before stars.
Exactly.
Like nobody really knew who I mean, everyone had an idea who I was. They're like, oh, this kid, this Jordan and everything. But now it's like, when you tackle like, it's like a powerful saying, find the biggest dude and go kill him. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like those guys. So when you do go and beat the big dogs and stuff like that, you're kind of on that I wouldn't say pedestal, but you're in those conversations. You're like, okay, this is a cat. Like we know what he's about and stuff.
No, yeah. So yeah, exactly that. Talking about going from a dude that didn't have stars, 2 stars. Um, kind of explain your recruitment process, how that went about, the different visits you went on. But I'm gonna just leave it at that. Yeah, kind of just explain your recruitment process and how it started to take off.
It's been a hard journey. It was never given to me. I went through yearly when college camps opened up. I was on the road with my father for a whole month straight, from the month of June all the way through July 1st. We was in Mississippi, Louisiana, every southern school you could think of to try to get an offer. I walked out, I spent it so many days in the airport, catching flights, just trying to hunt offers and everything. But, I went to a lot of camps. I learned a lot, but a lot of coaches, they were like, "Oh, you're good. We'll keep in touch." But some of them really didn't reach back out to me until I landed like a big offer like Ole Miss and Ole Miss. Later on, and I landed another offer like Alabama, and Alabama just kept carrying on. But my recruiting process, I would say, it was really tough. It didn't really take off like in refers like communication from a junior year because you still got to play your junior season and stuff like that because they're trying to making sure they evaluating all the way into your signing the letter of intent. They got to make sure like you progress because if they don't, then they're gonna which most colleges they would do, they'll go into the transfer portal or they'll just find another top guy who's going to continue to accelerate. So consistency was the biggest thing. But refers like communication, it was always had to be in the public eye. So I was always going to camps and camps. But it goes back to a lot of people, they only going to see you like dominating, throwing guys around the field, but they don't know like the struggle you really got to get through to go through the true recruiting process. You always got to be in the eye of college coaches at all time because nothing is really official until you sign the letter of intent. But signing a letter of intent is just like it's it's probably like the biggest blessing that you're going to achieve and everything like that. The biggest goal is to put your pen to that paper because you know how hard it was to get there. But my recruiting process really it was really great. It was just but it was a tough journey. But I would say my advice to like any young cat or young recruit: continue to stay hopeful, have faith. Don't be like everybody else because a lot of people will always say, "Don't go to camps. You ain't got to go to camps." It's the biggest lie. I feel like every recruit should go to camps, continue to be in public places where coaches are there, get evaluated. Because yeah, they'll come to you, but like you got to be really more realistic. You got to got to go keep hunting for offers. You got to go hit the road. It's just what you got to do. Because if you sit down and wait for them to come to you, it's just stuff don't work like that. You got to go out there and go get your food. You know what I mean? So, but that was like the biggest thing. And just sharing like a quick story. I was at Alabama, and the coach told me, you're too short to play outside backer here at Alabama. And so, well, no, my bad, excuse me, DN. And I was like, okay, but and he said I was short, you're a little slow, and like these are all the coaches. I'm not gonna say the specific coach's name, but I was like, oh wow, So of course, human nature, you're gonna say, oh f this, I'm not gonna go to that camp anymore. But shout out to my father always keeping me in check. He said, no, we're gonna go back on the plane next year, and we're gonna go straight back to that camp, and we're gonna go show them what's up again. So I went to the camp. I got like probably like 4 interceptions in front of Nick Saban because I went into that camp like I cannot leave no doubt. Like I have to go in and making sure I go to sleep that night, knowing that I did everything possible. And it's just so you could go because you want to go to sleep at night saying, at least I tried, like to my
Yeah.
full best. Because there's nothing is acceptable but your best. So went into the camp. I clocked in at a 4.5. Shout out to Speed Burns getting me right, Coach Rick.
Shout out
And
Coach Rick.
yeah, so when it came to the football part was good because it's something that always worked. So when it came to the 1-on-ones and everything like that, you have to win. You have to win because first impression is everything. Like you can't be you're either going to eat or you're going to be eaten. So that was my mentality at every single camp because the camps are a part of your recruiting process. I will say it again, camps are a part of your recruiting process. You have to continue to be in the eyes of the public, college coaches. You got to continue to promote yourself on Twitter. So, I went to the camp. I got 4 exact interceptions in front of Nick Saban when we were doing 1-on-ones. He called me up to his office, the greatest of all time to this day. He just said, we're going to offer you a scholarship to here at University of Alabama. I like the way you play and stuff. But, of course, they weren't saying that the year before that one. And there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe just my best wasn't good enough. Cool. You gotta go back to the drawing board, come back again, and do it again. You know what I'm saying? Because you're never gonna know until you try. So after that day, when I got offered by University of Alabama, my status of college coaches I can't keep up were just flooded in my DMs like crazy. So it's just like I said, just like it was just what I mean? But it just shows like I'm trying to explain to you guys like this is really how it works. Sometimes it takes like that one offer that sets a tone because they're like, oh shoot, of course we weren't gonna ride because USC were my first offer after Alabama. They were like and I'm a hometown kid. I grew up in this. I grew up a Trojan fan, and I was like, oh wow, like did it really take like Nick Saban to like because you gotta put yourself in a college coach perspective. Like, oh my gosh, Nick Saban believed in this kid. Now from a college coach perspective, when they see stuff like that, like the greatest of all time, and like he offered this kid, they rolled, and but we didn't roll the dice on him. So now it's like what I mean. But it's a business, so you got to think from a business perspective and everything. So that's where like the next morning I woke up, it just like I said, flooded in my DMs. Like it was just like college coaches from left and right, and it was all blessing. But it was just like that's really what my recruiting process looked like. It all like took off from camping. And like I said, your film will take care of it because of course you need film. That's why keep the main thing the main thing. Start if you're in of course helping win your team win a championship, then your individual goals will follow. But continue to keep the main thing, which is playing on varsity and everything. Your film will take care of itself. So when they do, because that's your resume and everything. But it just shows like it was just that's pretty much my recruiting process, how it took off, and how it takes off even more skyrocketing from after the Alabama offer because everything else we're just following after that.
No, yeah, exactly. You hit everything on the nail. I didn't even have to ask many questions on that, but I appreciate you explaining just like the Nick Saban effect. You know what I mean? After
Yeah,
Nick Saban, the GOAT, offered you, right? a lot more recruitment started to come in.
Yeah,
Kind
and
of
it could go
explain.
both ways.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
a kid could get an offer from USC, and then USC, it's a great university, and then all other college coaches are going to follow. And same thing like University of Oregon, you get off from University of Oregon, a lot of coaches else are going to continue following. So it's vice versa. Not saying you have to land an Alabama offer for coaches to start coming in. It could be any offer and everything. You just gotta have it could take like that one offer to set the tone for multiple offers coming in.
100%, bro. And pretty much all you need is one. All you need is one opportunity, and you just run with it. But being fortunate as you were, kind of explain too, getting recruited by Coach Harbaugh. I know he just took the Chargers job. How was that process like? Just getting recruited by Michigan, the reigning national champions.
Yeah, Coach Harbaugh was great. I was a bit nervous because he's someone I look up to because I like his mentality, his personality. He's goofy. Of course, he's serious, but at the same time, you're not really gonna find too many coaches who have like who would be dancing around while they're winning. So I was pretty like pumped up to see how he was. So he was just putting me on some game, and everyone could see is I was sitting in the office with Coach Harbaugh when he was recruiting me. Of course, I took my talents elsewhere to Texas A&M because that was the best option for me. But I'll share some that sticks with me that I learned from Coach Harbaugh. Seeing him for like about an hour, just talking to him in his head coach office, he was just saying like, "Listen, there's one thing you're going to learn about football. Don't be afraid to get hurt." I'll say it again. Do not be afraid to get hurt. He
Mm,
always told me is like football. You're going to go through injuries, but if you play half-ass because you're trying to preserve your body, you will get hurt because there's going to be another son of a gun who's going to come at you full speed and come to take your lights out, and then you just happen to not go full speed for that specific play. So that's one thing he told me about. Like he was just saying like this is a football, like this is a like something you're going to learn about football, Jordan. Like especially you got linebacker, like going to every game, don't go into the whole I got to preserve my body, give it all you got every single time. You're going to be the one hurting them, and they're not going to be the one hurting you because So I
mm.
was like, I'll say that was like my relationship with him in the recruiting process. He was just telling like a lot of real stuff, like just don't be afraid of what I mean, like get hurt, like you got to go full speed every single play and stuff because you don't want to get caught lacking and everything.
Oh
My bad
yeah.
if I went into too much detail on it. I just feel like,
Nah, that was great.
everyone, of course, no injuries are going to happen and stuff like that. But I think that the little Jim Harbaugh story of how his philosophy on cats like preserving their body and everything like that, everyone should know that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, 100%, bro. Hunter be hunted. You know what I mean? And
yes,
football's
sir.
a violent sport, so you gotta do what you gotta do to make yourself shine on that field. Yeah, not holding back anymore. On obviously you're at Texas A&M currently as an early enrollee. Kind of go into like what made you decide to go to Texas A&M and make that big decision to attend that college? Because like you talked about your recruitment process, you had a lot of options. Um, you had the option to go play for Alabama, Michigan, you name it. Right? You chose Texas A&M. Why did you make that decision?
Best way I could put it as possible. A lot of people think I committed to the coaches. It was I generally committed to the 12-man fan base. I remember I went to my first A&M game. Shout out to the coaches who recruited me, Coach Jimmo Fisher, mainly Coach DJ Durkin. He's at Auburn, but what made me, this is the time when they were here before they all went elsewhere, and then the new head coaching staff got in. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But what made me went to A&M, I went to the Alabama versus Texas A&M game.
You good?
Yeah, so we went to the A&M game, and man, there's just that the fan base was just crazy. And they say like everything in Texas was really just nothing special. Like there was nothing like it. And what drew me to it was just the culture. Everyone's gonna say the same thing, the environment and all that stuff. But what really drew me was really just like you can't beat that fan base. So I was like, I want to make this my home. So and that's me personally. That's just and that's on top of me playing football, of course. But Texas, of course, great academic school, get my degree, have an opportunity to go play in a big SEC. Like you can't write a better story. So I was just like that was my whole thought process on it. Playing in the SEC, academics, I visit every school you can think of, but A&M, you just couldn't beat it for me personally, and that's how I viewed it. I went to their facilities just off the charts, especially with recovery because recovery is a bigger thing. So those three things just drew me. Of course, yeah. So
Yeah,
I say that's what made me make the decision.
for sure, bro. You hit on the nail, bro. Like I could just say, playing in the Pac-12, whenever we did play SEC teams, you definitely felt it a little bit harder when they
Yeah,
hit you. You know what I
both
mean? You saw them.
confidence.
Yeah, they look bigger than the normal opponent that you usually go against when you play an SEC opponent. So those things definitely stick out as far as getting yourself ready for the NFL. Um, and like you hit on earlier in this interview, talking about going to Bosco, getting you ready for college, right? As an early enrollee, kind of just give your input on how important it is to that you made that decision to be an early enrollee rather than coming in the middle of the summer.
Of course, I'm actually here at home for spring break. Um, I just got back from A&M. I just finished my first 2 months, my first, enrollee months and everything, from January through February. Um, it was great. I would say the process was just like you're gonna get this is the best way I could put it for anybody who's thinking of joining early. You get a jump start on the feeling, because I'll say my first week wasn't easy. My first week of college, you're getting adjusted to classes. I didn't really get the flow of things until like my third week. So just the biggest thing is adjustment. So when I first got there, it's just. But would you rather do that in January or would you rather do that in June? It's a big difference. Like, would you rather like go through all the? I got to figure this out. I got to figure that out. How I'm gonna navigate my way through, succeeding or being the best version of myself as a football player here at A&M. Like, I could figure that out in January while it's early, January through March, or I could figure that out through June when might be too late because everybody learns different. They now they grow at a different type of pace. You know what I mean? And everyone, they just see things differently. So it's just like my whole thought process was like, if I come here in June, like, what I'm gonna spend like I already missed spring ball. You get what I'm saying? So like I get here in June and I'm getting adjusted to classes. I'm getting used to people. I'm getting used to the pace of workouts, and so it's a big difference with early enrollees and guys who come in the gym because you have a head start on cats on playbook, adjusting to the pace of college because everything's like because if you can't adjust, and it's kind of like how it is from being at any type of university, whether if it's JUCO, D1, or any type of level, like guys, they're trying to like things got to move at fast pace. So paying attention to detail was a big thing. So I was like, okay, I'd rather get used to that in January and not in June. So that was my whole thought process. But I think that's the right way to do it. But if you come in June and you still find your way to find your spot on the come freshman year, then hey man, everyone's different. but me, I just I wanted to come early to just get the use of things and make like adjustments at a smooth process. So I'm not like falling behind in June or first playbook. So I have opportunity to showcase myself in the spring, which only early enrollees can do. They get to show themselves in the spring and stuff like that. But the cats who come in June, they're gonna come in and barely learn they don't know what the playbook is. You're already getting like loaded with installs, and you got to get used to. That's the biggest thing. You have to get used to terminology, understanding how college coaches speak, the way they want things done, the way they go about things, and stuff like that. So that's why I was like saying, all right, I'm gonna be here in January. I said that most year. I'm gonna get there in January. I'm gonna learn the way the defensive coordinator speaks, and so when I get come June, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I'm hitting a brick wall and stuff. That's pretty much it though.
Yeah, you hit that on the point, bro. Talking from someone that did come in mid-year, I can definitely say if I was able to redo it again, I would early enroll because of all those same struggles that you mentioned. Right, it's hard to come in June and learn the whole playbook, get yourself physically ready to play against some grown men.
And
Right,
terminology, that's the biggest thing because
terminology, balancing school, doing all that in June rather than back in January is a lot harder.
yeah, because I got homesick. I got homesick for like 2 weeks. I
That
was just
too,
like
balancing, yeah,
mentally,
balancing that as well.
yeah, my like I meant like it takes a lot of praying and meditation, especially when you're away from home. Like, my first 2 weeks I was just homesick. So like I said, would you rather experience that in January while it's early, or you can experience that in June and you're just wasting time? Because
Facts.
it's nothing, it's no emotion. It's just business. So, you want to get used to just like competing with yourself at a higher level. But yeah, that's pretty much it though.
You know, life after football, right? Outside of football, do you have any big aspirations when you are done, when you do put the cleats down, put the pads up? What are kind of like some of your life aspirations after football?
I'm going to acting. going
Going into acting, just like
straight into
that,
going straight into Hollywood. Going straight into Hollywood. I
straight
was always
into it,
big
huh?
on. Yeah, I grew up watching a lot of movies and everything. So my plan is to go to the NFL, and then you can't play football forever. There's always going to be a next upcoming USO coming up, a next middle linebacker, next this and that coming up. But I'll tell you this, there won't be another Jordan Lockhart. So I'm gonna make the most of it when I am playing
Facts.
football. I'm saying it's like Mayweather. Mayweather, he can't box. He's not boxing. Actually, technically, he's in shape. He could box still, but you get the idea. Like he's not. You
There's
can't
one
do
Mayweather. There's
what you
one
do
Jordan
is
Lockhart.
everything exactly. What you do is temporary. So what Mayweather is, that's how I try to look at it. Like yeah, Mayweather, he's done boxing. He's off to the sunset. But there won't be another Mayweather. Now you got the cats like Tank Davis coming up. No, not Tank Davis coming up. He is up. He is up. Danny Hanley, Ryan Garcia. So that's how I try to treat football. Like I was just like, I'm gonna make the most of it when I am in this business and everything. Because when I'm done in it, I'll be in Hollywood.
Be in Hollywood.
Yeah,
So
I'll
what
be
type of
doing
movies would
I'll
you
be
want to
doing
be in?
commercials and
Like as an
just
actor, yeah.
and biggest thing and also just continue to spread the word of God. You might catch me preaching at my church here and there and stuff. But it's all about give back. But I want to use the status that I have from football and turn it into something greater because the ultimate goal is to give back. And that's how, which is more reasons why I play football to give back not only to my family, but to the ones who've been in the situation that I've been through, my brother Danny's been through, and my brother Benny's been through, which is struggling and getting to where we're trying to get to. It's a struggle. So this is like a testament of like I'm gonna use everything I got that I took from football and life after football. I'm gonna give back to others with the money that you made and continue to network with people and go into Hollywood. you
Yeah.
know, but
Go right into
you can do whatever you want to do. But yeah, just going back to life after football, just get into business, investing in properties, and continue to start my own brand and amplify my family's brand, Team Hustle, and continue to everything we do. I'm gonna use football as to amplify the stuff that's not football. So that's like my biggest takeaway on life after football. I'm going to give back to my family because it's a must. You have to make it. You have to make it doesn't mean just make it to the NFL because NFL it's not forever. You're gonna do your time in the NFL, but unfortunately, there's gonna be a time where you're not gonna be running like you're in your 21 body anymore. You're gonna hang up the cleats and go into retirement. Now, what you do next? You got to have a game plan. I promise you, everyone who's watching this podcast that they're gonna, I got a plan. So my advice to anybody, planning their life after football, write it down, but continue to be in the now, live in the now, but keep things in perspective. When that time do come, I would say my advice is just continue to give back, to my family, making sure everyone's straight, retire with my parents, and then go into movies like Moana.
Man, you got the whole plan mapped out after football, man. That's perfect. You know what I mean? Just having a plan. Because like you said, football doesn't last forever. But and you're a lot more than just a football player as well, Jordan. You know what I mean? You are a great football player, that's where it's taking you, but the personality, the brand that you create, um, that's who you are as a person. And kind of just going into uh, how it takes a village. Like you didn't get here on your own. It took your brothers, it took your
I
dad,
did it.
mom, you know what I mean? Your sisters,
I had
everyone
the
in your family,
family. I
whole
had these
family.
three. I shout out to the women on my shoulders. It's all about the women, man. Got to serve back to the females. My two baby sisters, my mama, Melody. It's all predicated to them, along with two grandmothers, my brothers, my whole family, uh, my cousins at the church, just the straight village. And for all the kids, that's why I throw up the S a lot. Every time I throw up the S, it's like a little testimony of me showing my love to the the kids who didn't have the opportunity I had back in the small island of Samoa. That's my biggest goal. I want to go to Samoa one day, and then do youth camps, show kids that, like, so every time, they're at home in their village and they're watching me in the NFL or in the movie or whatever it is that I'm doing, and they see me throwing up the S and doing, follow me to my lungs, like chihuing and everything like that. Like it's more like a symbolization of me letting kids know, like, even though you come from our people come from a small island, you could, with keeping God first, whatever is going to come down, put your mind to it, and you can do whatever you want and continue to put Samoa on the map.
And you hit on all the points, bro. Just remembering who got you there, the village that got you to the success that you're at, and just
Thank God. Shout
yeah,
out. God did.
God for
God did.
shout out God, man.
God did.
In this position without him, and
Praise
just giving
God.
back to your community.
Yes, sir.
Being proud of your culture. So, I appreciate all that, Jordan. Well, I appreciate you for being here, being our first member on our podcast, Journey to D1. Any last words you want to leave with the people before we close out this episode?
Fafta to for you que pele molotov lang no lano malos yati au. Galo malabele amatanga wa tama fanga ile football. Fia labi ne la sango o asia avea le ama famu yang yati au Marcelo ainga. I just want to thank I'm a translator. I just want to thank my family for supporting me, my journey when I first started playing football. I'm blessed and humbly grateful to be in this position, not only to help myself, but to help my family. And then the tour. Praise God. I like that one, huh?
This is where we'll add the clapping in the background, right? We'll get that clapping noise. Appreciate you, Jordan. Shout out to you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Jordan, and we'll see you guys later.
All right, so.
Yes, sir.